I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Denied. How? How can you deny it? The police report. The fire marshal's report. It's all there. We've lost everything. A single word spoken by a claims adjuster hundreds of miles away can erase a lifetime of work? Denied. It lands with the force of a physical blow. In that moment, you are not just facing a loss. You are facing a labyrinth of fortress of policy language, procedural fine print, and impersonal authority. The instinct is to fight with emotion, with desperation, to threaten, to scream the word lawyer. But there is another word, a quieter word, a term of art buried in the contractual bedrock of every modern insurance policy. It is the legal skeleton key, and when used precisely, it does not request cooperation, it commands it. My insurance tried to deny my $90,000 claim. To understand the power of the key, you must first understand the lock. The denial of a major claim is rarely a whim. It is a deliberate, defensible action within a system designed to manage risk and mitigate loss for shareholders. The adjuster you speak to is often the final conduit for a decision shaped by layers of review, software flags, and legal counsel. The grounds are almost always procedural or interpretive. Not we don't believe you, but the policy as written does not cover this as presented. The failure to mitigate denial. You did not take reasonable steps to prevent further damage after the initial event. The concurrent causation denial. The loss was caused by a combination of covered and excluded perils. For example, wind damage is covered, but subsequent flood damage is not. The material misrepresentation denial. Something was inaccurate on your original application or in your claim documentation. The wear and tear. Pre-existing condition denial. This damage was gradual deterioration, not a sudden accidental event. The initial denial letter is a masterpiece of defensive framing. It cites policy sections, clauses, exclusions. It feels final, unassailable. It is designed to make the path of least resistance, giving up seem like the only rational choice. This is where our story begins. Meet David and Elena. A kitchen fire, sparked by a faulty range hood motor, caused significant damage to their home. The fire was covered, but the insurance company's investigation pointed to the electrical work installed during a renovation 5 years prior. Their denials cited the faulty workmanship exclusion and argued that the true cause was this pre-existing, excluded condition, not the fire itself. The claim, $90,000 in repairs. The offer, $0. Their first appeal was emotional. They sent photos, pleaded their case. They mentioned getting an attorney. The response was a polite, firm reiteration of the denial. The fortress walls did not shake. They were facing a dead end, contemplating a costly and protracted lawsuit they couldn't afford. Then they found the word. Buried not in the exclusions, not in the limitations, but in the general provisions, often in a section title. Your duties after a loss or general conditions lies the foundational principle of all insurance contracts. It is not a coverage clause, it is a covenant. A mutual promise of fundamental fairness implied in every insurance contract in the United States. It is the duty of good faith and fair dealing. This is the word, or rather, this is the legal doctrine. The magic word is invoking a breach of this duty. While lawyer threatens external conflict, invoking the duty of good faith and fair dealing strikes at the internal, contractual soul of your relationship with the insurer. You are not just saying they're wrong. You are accusing them of violating the core ethical premise of the entire contract. What does this duty mean? It obligates the insurer to 1. Conduct a thorough, prompt, and unbiased investigation. 2. Not place its financial interests above the rights of its policyholder. 3. Give equal consideration to evidence that supports coverage as to evidence that denies it. 4. Not use technical, obscure policy interpretations to deny a claim without a firm, arguable basis in fact and law. In David and Elena's case, their research suggested the insurer had failed to fully investigate the direct, efficient cause of the loss, the faulty motor, a covered peril, and disproportionately focused on the excluded, remote cause, the old electrical work. Used a broad exclusion, faulty workmanship to avoid a clear, covered peril fire, potentially placing its financial interest above their right to coverage. They had a theory. Now they needed to weaponize it. Not with a phone call, but with a formal, written, and perfectly calibrated document. This is not a rant. It is a legal pre-action letter. Its tone is unimpeachably professional, its facts are documented, and its argument is precise. Here is the exact framework, the script that changes the game. Formal notice of potential breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing claim number to 7 Dear Johnson and Mike, this letter constitutes formal notice regarding the handling of the above referenced claim, which was wrongfully denied on the 19th of June 2021. We have meticulously reviewed the denial letter, the relevant policy provisions, and the facts of the loss. While we maintain the loss is directly covered under the peril of fire, we write today to address a more serious, separate issue, the apparent breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing inherent in our insurance contract. Our review indicates the investigation may have failed to meet the standards required by this duty. Specifically, 1. Failure to conduct a full and fair investigation. The investigation appears to have focused solely on a potential, excluded remote cause, the electrical work, while minimizing or ignoring the direct, efficient, and covered proximate cause, the malfunction of the range hood motor, which constituted a fire. 2. Elevation of company interest over policyholder right. The use of the faulty workmanship exclusion in this context appears to be an overly broad interpretation used primarily to avoid coverage for a clear covered peril, suggesting a primary motive of financial avoidance rather than a good faith analysis of the claim. We have enclosed or have previously provided the following evidence which we believe was not given equal consideration. List evidence, fire marshal report, independent electrician's report on the motor, etc. The duty of good faith and fair dealing requires a reassessment of this claim that is prompt, thorough, and objective. We demand the immediate initiation of a new, unbiased review by a different adjuster and/or supervisor with full consideration of all evidence. To be clear, we are prepared to pursue all available legal remedies for both the wrongful denial of coverage and for the separate damages available for a breach of the covenant of good faith and fair dealing, which can include, where allowed by law, consequential damages, emotional distress, and in cases of egregious conduct, punitive damages. We expect a substantive response within 14 calendar days. All rights are reserved. This letter does 3 things with surgical precision. 1. It changes the battlefield. The conversation is no longer just about the $90,000 claim. It is now about the insurer's potential liability for uncapped, punitive bad faith damages, which can far exceed the original claim amount. 2. It escalates the audience. The mention of legal department and separate damages guarantees this letter will be reviewed by supervisors and in-house counsel, not just the original adjuster. 3. It provides a graceful off-ramp. You are not just threatening a lawsuit. You are demanding a new, unbiased review. You are giving them a contractual and face-saving reason to reverse their decision. For David and Elena, the response came in 10 days. Not from the adjuster, but from a senior claims specialist. The letter acknowledged their communication, stated the file was being reevaluated under a more comprehensive review process, and 3 weeks later, a new settlement offer arrived. The magic word was not lawyer. It was invoking the breach of the duty of good faith and fair dealing. It shifted the leverage from a debate over policy minutia to a threat against the insurer as fundamental legal and financial integrity. This is not a tool for a dispute over a $500 fender bender. This is a strategic weapon of last resort for a significant, wrongfully denied claim where you have evidence of an unfair process. Your action plan must be sequential. 1. Exhaust normal channels. File your appeal. Gather all evidence. 2. Research. Understand the exact reason for your denial. Research your state's laws on insurance bad faith. 3. Document everything. Keep a log of every call, every name, every promise, every delay. 4. Craft the letter. Use the framework. Be factual. Be professional. Be precise. 5. Send it certified mail. Create a legal paper trail. A final critical warning. Accusing an insurer of bad faith is a serious legal allegation. Your claim must have merit, and your evidence must support the assertion of an unfair process. When used correctly, it is the most powerful word in a policyholder's vocabulary. It is the recognition that the contract is not a one-way shield for the corporation. It is a two-way street of mutual obligation. And sometimes you must calmly, firmly point them back to the road. The most powerful word isn't a threat, it's a reminder